Okay, so the fifth wave is the latest in a string of young adult sci-fi movies that's really started snowballing with The Hunger Games back in 2012. Ever since then, there have been big titles such as Divergent and Maze Runner, which have been, pretty much a success in the box office, but they're all following the same tropes, and they're, for the most part, pretty unoriginal, going through the same motions. A lot of people don't like these movies, but obviously a lot of people do like them. They attract a big audience, a lot of people are going to see them, but I feel like for the most part, none of them are going to get to the point where The Hunger Games was, and I think even The Hunger Games, was competing with The Hunger Games itself. With the last two movies, Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, they weren't as good as the first two Hunger Games movies, in my opinion, and the momentum just, started decreasing very fast. But when the fifth wave trailer hit, I thought it was going to be taking an interesting twist, making it an alien invasion. But I mean, alien invasions have been done to death in film. I was interested in seeing this young adult take on it. I knew going into this movie what the result was probably going to be, but I was curious to see if the movie would defy my expectations and, make me enjoy this movie. Unfortunately, I was right, and this movie was terrible right after the first act. The first act wasn't even amazing, but it just got redeemed so much seeing Act 2 and Act 3 when everything fell apart and was reduced to, every cliche imaginable before in previous movies. Wow. So the fifth wave is supposed to be an alien invasion, and it's an account of Chloe Grace Moretz's character. She's like writing things down in her diary at the beginning of the movie, then, it catches up to the present. The beginning describes the first three waves. The aliens are invading Earth. The first is an EMP blackout power outage. And these were really interesting to see. This is why I like the first act. And then the second was massive earthquakes and tsunamis all around the world, which took out major cities and killed most people. And then the third was was like the bird flu, and it was airborne disease killing everyone. So that stuff was pretty interesting. It was cool and it was fun to watch. Once Act 2 is set up, it falls apart so rapidly you feel like you got whiplash. The plot is set up in the points where you know where everything's going to happen. The movie makes an effort to bring itself back to unoriginal stories, unoriginal dialogue. It's a mess. There's a romance subplot in this movie. It's the worst thing I've seen in 2016 so far. I haven't seen too many movies in 2016, but it's probably going to be one of the worst. The romantic subplot and the writing for it and the performances in it remind me so much of two things. It's Anakin and Padme in Star Wars Episode 2 and the Twilight movies with Bella and Edward. And this guy is a cardboard cutout, just like Edward Cullen was. The way the story goes, it gave me like war flashbacks. Chloe Grace Moretz did a fine job with what she was given. So in the first act, the movie also follows Chloe Grace Moretz's character. She had a friend in high school who she was separated from when the wave started hitting. It follows him. He's in like a military camp. They're training to fight back against the aliens. His story is indefinitely funner to watch. It's easier to watch and to take in. Especially when it's in Act 2, like right, it jumps back and forth Chloe Grace Moretz and her romantic plotline, and the military camp training. You know where both stories are going to go, and by this point, your bar has been set from here to like right here, maybe even lower. So you're literally just sitting back and watching this unfold, knowing what's going to happen, watching everyone go through the motions. You know you've seen it a million times before, and you're sick of it. These kinds of movies really need to get the hint. The young adult sci-fi genre, I feel like, should go back to, sticking to books, novelizations, where authors can make their characters more interesting and make their storylines more interesting and more unique. I feel like in film, all the creativity gets drained out, and it's made so much to appeal to the masses that it's not art anymore. It's just the exact same thing you've seen. Anyways, this movie ended exactly how I thought it was going to end. I thought this movie could have been different, but it wasn't at all. A lot of potential wasted, and I'm very disappointed. Overall, the fifth wave, I think, is probably a 5 out of 10, if not less. Hopefully there's no sequels. Hopefully. There probably will be. Hopefully there isn't. Anyways, I'm Ricky for the Film Fan Club, and you can follow me on Twitter at rickety_rockety or on Instagram at ricksusato. Farewell.